Till now we have discussed about what is database, what is database management, what are the characteristics of different databases, and what are the applications of database, and actors behind the scene or actors on the administrator, database administrators, the users, and also the history of the database, and also where we should not use the database. Such concepts we have already discussed. Now let us discuss about the data model. So the question comes is, what is the data model? Data model is a collection of a concept that can be used to describe the structure of the database. Now straight away the question comes is, what do you mean by structure of the database? The structure of the database will be, for example, if you take a student database. The structure of the student database will contain the name of the student, the registered number of the student, the address, and so on. Similarly, the data of the students are related to some other data, such as course and course name, course number, credit hours. These are all the data, all the tables what we are going to define. And here, when in this particular tables, we call this as a relation in database terms, and together all these relations or tables we can construct a data model. About that in the next video or in the next class, I will prepare one data model and I will demonstrate it practically. I will just revise this particular data model concept. So it provides a necessary means to achieve the abstraction. Abstraction means it is separating the conceptual level with the data layer. What is that? We will be discussing it in detail in the next topic. The diagram we are going to discuss, we will get a better idea. Most of these data models include the basic operations for retrieval and update of database. That means in this data model, apart from describing the structure, so the structure description is nothing but a table creation. The student table, for example. We are inserting a record into the table. We select the record and we display the record. We make the modification into the table and to the record. So selection is called as a retrieval, and modification of the data in a database is called as a updation. So mainly data models, what we have proposed, it is divided into three categories. One is high level or conceptual data model, provides the concept that are close with to the many users. So if you want to discuss about that one, I want to show you the diagram. Yeah, here you can see this is a conceptual layer is there, and the conceptual model is dealing with the high level or conceptual data, and low level or physical data. So here when we talk about a data models, so low level or physical data models provide the concept that describes the details of how data is stored onto the computer storage media, typically magnetic disk. Then conceptual data models use concepts such as entity, attribute, and relationship. So let us try to understand this particular concept, how it works. Okay, just a minute. Just to give you the idea what is meant by high level or conceptual data model and low level or physical data. This is a three-tier architecture. About that we will discuss in detail. So here this is the external view, and exactly when I discuss about this three-tier architecture, you will have a better idea. What we can do is, so we talked about a high level or conceptual level model. This is between these two. High level means the user level, Okay, and in the conceptual level, this conceptual level I will discuss it in detail. So whatever the relationship is created among this is defined in the model, and also the relationship between this database layer, that is the physical layer, and conceptual layer. So how it is organized, that we can discuss in data. Now let us discuss about the conceptual data model. So actually conceptual data model, what we have discussed now, it has concepts such as entities, attributes, and relationships. Now these are key attributes into the conceptual model. What is entity? We have to understand. Entity is a real life or a real world object or a concept such as employee. So student data, student, employee, then course. These are all entities. And attributes represent some property of interest that further describes an entity, such as employee's name or salary. You can see here, entity means a real world object such as a name, student, address, like that. Correct. Attribute means it has some properties or it is further described. Entity is further described. In case of a student, if you consider student as an entity, you are not talking about a table here. You are talking about a student or a customer or a department. These are all entities. Now each entity represents some property, and those properties are, for example, if you take a student database, okay, student, the student number, register number, roll number, or student name, address, or even employee, if you consider employee name, employee salary, employee address. So like that, it has an attribute. Similarly, for example, if you take a student, he will be learning in some department. Or okay, I will take an example of the employee. If certain employee, he is an entity, right? That particular employee will be working for certain department. Correct. What it shows? So if you take an employee as an entity, okay, and he is working for some department. So there is a relationship between these two. Employee is also entity, department is also entity. And works on is a relationship created between the employee and department. Similarly, the employee will have a relation with his own family, and he will have the relationship with another entity called as a dependent. Correct? Okay. This employee depends on them. That is a dependent. Similarly, this employee will be working on certain project. Correct. So there will be a relationship called as a work. About these concepts we will be discussing in detail in the second chapter. That is entity relationship model or ER diagram. With the DR diagram and all, you will better idea. Here, the relational or implementation data models are the models used most frequently in traditional commercial DB. So these particular models are called as the relational data model, which define the entity, attribute, and the relationship among the data. So I have described how it is. Now I will revise the things here. I will go back and I will revise the data model. Data model describes the structure of the data for a database or certain, and it will include different entities. Correct. Then it has, and the data model is proposed as a high level or a conceptual data model, and it relates between the user and the conceptual level, which is responsible for creating a link between the data layer. We will discuss that in the 3-tier architecture, and low level and physical model. Then we have a conceptual data models. Actually, these have some concepts such as entities, attributes, and relations. So in tabular format, if you ask me what is the entity, correct? Oh, sorry, not tabular. If you ask me what is the entity, the real life existing thing such as employee, department, okay, then dependents, departments, then project. So employee will be dealing with project. So he has a relationship. See, as I mentioned, the entity will have also the attributes that we have to discuss first. So attributes, as we have discussed, employee name, salary, and all. I hope you understood. Now here, when we talk about the employee, he will be working on some project. So or some department. Correct. So here, one project. We'll take one project. Employee may be working on one project. So there will be a relationship between employee and a project. Means there will be different projects, like that there will be different employees. Some employee may work on multiple projects or some may work on single project. So there will be a relationship between the employee and project. That is a work zone. That is, and between department and employee, that is works for. Works for. Like that, each entity will have relationship among the different entities. Employee entity will have a different relationship with the department. Employee entity will have a different relationship with the project. Department will have a different relationship with the project. Like that, there will be a relationship among the different. I hope this point is very clear. Okay, but still we will be discussing the same concept in the second unit, where most of the things will be. Now let us understand the concept schema, instance, and database. Now we have to understand what is a database. So today I have not prepared the practical English. I have planned one concept here. I want to explain these concepts in the practical thing. Now once I will explain the concepts, next class, same I will revise with this practical implementation. Will prepare all the practical implementation. Now it is not ready with. In the next session, I will just prepare those practical implementations, and I will tell you exactly what is entity. Correct? I will prepare a model also. I will just take only two entities. For example, if I take employee, I will take only employee and department. How the relationship is created among them. I will just demonstrate it in a model. Similarly, I will create some tables, database tables, and I will explain what is the database. Correct. The description of database is called as a database, and that is specified during the database. Correct. Now, if I have to, I want to employee database. So my schema will be, maybe I name it as the employee schema. Correct. It will contain number of entities, such as the EMP employee will be an entity, maybe entity, department, and so on. Correct. So we have a schema diagram. Let me show you that how it looks like. Here you see, this is a schema diagram. You can see here how the schema is. In this, the entities are student, course, prerequisites, sections. These are all different entities we can consider. Student and course we can consider as an. And here, these two will be related, and there will be a relationship among these two entities. Okay, this particular figure gives you a schema diagram. Means how you are going to represent. For example, if you represent as what you can say is a university or a college, it will have a entity called as a student, and you define it as a table. Correct. And it is represented in a schema diagram. Schema or schema diagram. Schema diagram will look like. Correct. And based on the schema diagram, you can design the table. Correct. Now here we call each objects in a schema, such as student or course, a schema construct. See what happens, in the examination, these are asked, what is the data model? Correct. What is the entity? What is the entity? What is the relation? Or what is database schema? What is the schema? Out of these, or these, some may be asked for 1 mark or 2 marks. Okay. So here schema construct stands for the each object in a schema. For example, student and course. Here the student and course are the schema construct. Sorry, schema construct. The data in the database at a particular moment in a time is called as a data state or action. Okay. Now, when we enter the student name or address or one field we are inserting into the student name, that we can call it as a database state or a snapshot. It is also called as a current set of occurrence or instances in it. So exist when you insert a new data, that is called as a data. So here one example of a student database is given. Here you can see. Actually, when we design such a schema or when we design some database, the description of database is stored into the data description is stored into metadata. We have discussed about this one. Here you can see the metadata, or you can call it as a catalog also. You can call it as a catalog also. Sometimes schema is also called as the intentions. Correct. So this is also one more one. Maybe ask for 1 mark. What is intention? Intention is nothing but a schema. But a schema. And we also discussed about a database state. It is also called as the extension of a. Now let us discuss about data model. Data model, I think we have already discussed. Now I want to show you the practical implementation. For that I will use MySQL. Here I am using a MySQL workbench. About that we will discuss when it comes to the practicals. Now I will show you how we can create a data model or what is a schema. Practically I want to show you, because most of the concepts what we have learned is a theoretical concept. I will log in with the root username here. Here it will ask me the password. So I have to enter the password here. I click. I get this interface. Actually, we are getting. Actually, we are not getting anything here. This the table structure. Usually, when you define the table, so it will be like this: create table, table name. Correct. So here, table name is the student. Here the schema name. The MyDB is the schema name. Here you can see we will be having the schemas here at the left side. So I have given my name as a Dinesh, and I have taken one more schema as an institute. Here I want to create the tables to this. I can create a table into this one. Just I can just right click. I can create a table. This create command is using this command. I can create a table, that is a create table student number. Int is a data type. Not null is a constraint. That means it should contain some data. And here you can see one more constraint we have added for the student number. You can see it here. You see we have added a primary key constraint for student number. Actually it is making sure that there won't be any repetition of the data. Okay, so like that you can see name, class, major. Like that we define the different field names. These field names we call it as the attribute, and table name is a student here, which is nothing but a relation. Student is a relation, a term relation, and this student number, name, these are all called as a attributes. Varchar, int, these are all data types, what we have already discussed. Not null, primary key, foreign key, these are all constraints. About those we will be discussing in a separate topic. I wanted to show you practically, so that is why I brought you here. And when you create a database, it is a schema what you define. So Dinesh I have defined as a schema. This is a schema list. You can have your own schema. In that you can have number of tables, views, stored procedures, functions, and so on. Okay, now you can define it directly using a table, or you can define it using a model. You can create a new model, and here from here also you see here this is a schema. MyDB is the schema name here. You can just add tables from here. You can double click and you can add the contents. You can just columns. You can add. You can select the data types. You can select the data types and so on. You can continue with this. The data types, foreign key, primary key, like that you can add. And if you close that, it will create one table. You can see the table here. Correct. Now with this table, you can have a data model, and you can create a relationship among the tables. So I will not create this. Means I will not go practically into this. When you come for the lab, we will demonstrate it, so you can try it. Okay. Now I will close this one, and I have already created one model which I want to show it to you. MySQL schema. Now I will just open model which I have already created, and I have given the name of the model as student. Yeah, here you can see. And in this I have created 4 tables: course, grade, prerequisites, students, and those I have taken from this one: student table, course table, prerequisite, and grade. I have left out the section. Okay, so this is what we have learned in our video. Here I have created tables. You can see here, if you double click onto this, you can see the field names here: course name, course number, like that. Similarly, grade report, you can see these are all the attributes or fields. These are the data types what we need. So you can see the student table, correct? Student table, you can see in that you see student number. Here you can see one small key. I hope, but I am not sure whether you can see it or not. Yellow color key you can see here. That means it's a primary key, and not null. Not null means you should have some value into that. So here also not null. NN means not null. I hope you can see it in your screen. Okay, so like that it is defined. Correct. So this how it looks in the model we will see. Student model. I will just okay, by mistake I closed it. I will once again open this. Yeah, here you can see EER diagram. You just double click on that. You can see how the model is constructed here. So this will give you a better idea. You can see we have discussed about a relation. Relation means student, grade, prerequisites, and course. These are the tables. We call this as a relation. And we also discussed about a relationship among the tables. So between student and grade, there is a relationship. This line indicates there is a relationship. You can see this line now. Line you can see now. I will just drag it. I drag the line. You will. Then I'm working. Okay. Right. Okay. This is showing a relationship that the student number of student table is related with the grade table. So how this is related, that is a question here. So just I will just you can see here where it is prescribed primary key for student number, correct? Here for student number it will be having a foreign key, correct? So this field you can see a yellow mark here. This means primary key. What are those things? These are all constraints. What are those things? We will learn it practically. This is a model. This is a data model. When we create a tables, the data model is created like. I hope few things are very clear. Okay. Now, in case you want to understand this, you have to go back and learn the work on the theoretical concept. See, this is a schema diagram, correct? So, schema diagram represents a table, student, course, and all. That I have shown it in the model like this. I hope it is clear, because most of the things what we are discussing is the theoretical things may be confused. Schema, instant, data state. Data state means present state of a data. So that is when you insert the data. That is what we call data state. And we have also discussed about entity. Entity is a real life existing thing. That is student or course. These are all entities. Attributes are the properties such as here student number, name. These are all here what we have defined. No? These are all relationships. So attributes. Relationships you see works on. For example, here if you consider there is a relationship between course and prerequisite. We will consider. So here course number is linked with of the course table, which is having a primary key, is linked with the course number of the prerequisite. Means if you want to join this course, what are the prerequisites you should have? That is the relationship. So what are the prerequisites you should have? That type of relationship is defined by this particular relationship. So this is what is all about data. Okay. So I hope you understood what is a data model, and I hope you can go further.